How's it going, guys? So today I'm gonna be walking you through how to make graphics for MX bikes. The whole process, my process, is a little bit different than others. So I'm gonna show you exactly how I do it. So on MXB mods, I'm sure you're familiar with it. If you're not, this is where all of the mods for MX bikes are. They should have additional. Actually, we're just gonna look it up. So here we go. Um, Actually, this is on the forum, but it should be on mods as well. Um, it shows you um, all of like the if you want to make skins, the templates to the bike for the bikes. Um, this seems outdated. Oh, here we go. So here's CRF 2021 template zip. So here's the template. I'm just going to download it. I already have mine, but we're just going to download it for the sake of the video. While that's loading, I'm going to open Photoshop and Illustrator. Because I use both, I don't just use Photoshop. So this is downloaded. So let me explain this to you. So every document within MX Bikes, like for skinning, will come with the PSD and then a Targa TGA file. TGA files are what you need to import it into game, so that's what you save it as. We're gonna put that over here to the side for now. Yeah. So we got our template opened. This is your credit tab right here. This is just crediting all the guys LC making the template, everything. I'm just gonna delete that. So we have our template here. They already got preset graphics on everything. So first of all, we're gonna defuse this, which means expanding the folder. This is your layers panel. This is where everything will be. If you don't see some of the things that I have here, you can go to Window, and this is how you open anything within your Photoshop document. It's Window, and then you click, whatever you need. So we have our defuse here. So if you click on your document and it'll move stuff like this, press Control Z to get it back to normal. Control Z is how you fix a mistake pretty much. It goes back one step. So this is your bike shading here. I like to lock this so I can't move it and I can't touch it anymore. So when I grab onto something, it's actually selecting what I need to select. So so they make a preset graphics for this template, which is called HRC, and then you have a cutout here. So I'm just gonna delete the HRC so I don't see those graphics anymore. So we have our cutout here. We have our cutout here. And this is what basically the template for what your graphics are going to go onto. So what I like to do is, so if you expand this cutout folder, every piece is kind of separated. You got fork guards, number plate, all that. So I press Control on my keyboard, I click the black box here, and this will create a selection around the whole cutout. And then I create a layer above my cutout layer. I go to my paintbrush tool. This is your swatches tab down here. It'll show you what color is on your paintbrush. And then I will paint this all black here, the cutout. So now my cutout is one whole piece together. So I like doing that because my process of making graphics is I use Illustrator as well. So this is where Illustrator will come in. So I do File, New. I like to do 1920 1080 RGB color, 300 pixel PPI, pixels per inch. So now I have my cutout here. What I'll do is if you go to Window libraries, you click libraries, and I have Adobe, so Adobe lets me save like work that I've done within libraries. So all of these graphics that I've done, they're inside of a library. So what I like to do is make a new library. I have bikes. I drag this and wait till this turns like to a light gray. I drag it into my library. So now you can see I have that down here along with my other cutouts. So now we're in Illustrator. I have this blank document here. I I click this from my library and I drag it onto to my blank space. So it's a little bit off this white artboard here, which I don't like. Or I can just keep it down here, but I like to keep it on my artboard. So I can go over here to the left side of my screen. It's called your artboard tool. I make my artboard just a little bit bigger. Then I can go back to my direct selection tool or hit V on your keyboard. So now we got this. It's just recognizing it as an image right now. So we're going to have to make this not into an image pretty much. So just like in Photoshop, you can go to Window. This is where everything you'll need is. And then I'll click Image Trace. So Image Trace is a tool that lets you trace like, let's see. So like, let's say you have this, like you got a picture off Google or something and you want to trace it and make it an actual vectorized logo. You use Image Trace to do that. So I'll click Trace. I'll press OK. That's fine. So now it seems like nothing happened, but it did actually. It made this an actual shape. So I'll do Object, Expand, and you do Object and Fill. So now you can see there's little borders around all of the shapes. And you might not notice, but there is a white box still on my graphics. So I'll double click inside of it. I'll press Y. Y selects colors of likeness. So I'll do Y and I'll click the white space and then I'll press delete. And that deletes all that white space. So now you got your template, all different shapes and kind of like a template you can work with. So I will right click and I'll do ungroup because they're all one group, and I'll do that about until they're ungrouped here, until they're each individual pieces. Oh, and one thing about this that you should not do is do not like move a piece, because that's what is going back onto this cutout here, and it needs to be the same exact shape and size as what it was. So press Ctrl Z if you move anything. So now we got layer panel over here, I got Pathfinder, all my tools are right here that I need to use. So now that I have this, I have to make these into clipping masks. And so pretty much whenever you're making graphics for like real life, like stickers or whatever, this is the exact process you'll do for that as well. So I'm going to click my object, Control C, Control Shift V. So that just, in my layer panel, you see it made another shape. So I'll click over it, press Control 7. So that is a clipping mask now. So you can double click inside of it and pretty much draw whatever you want, and it'll be inside of that mask. So that's the basics of it pretty much. So I'll do Control C, Control Shift V. V is in Victor. Control 7. Control 7 makes it a clipping mask. You have to drag and then click Control 7 to make it the actual clipping mask. And what I'm doing to drag it is just clicking with my left click and then and holding it down. And that's how you make that little selection. So here we have these three pieces that are for the front fender, so I'll probably want these to be all one shape. So I'll just click and drag over them, press Control 8 to make it a compound path, which pretty much makes it one shape. Then I'll do Control C, Control Shift V, Control 7, and that makes it that clipping mask. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that for all these shapes. So we are good to start designing pretty much. So what I wanted to design today is I made this graphic for my website for my custom graphics, blitzcompanyofficial.com, of course. And this is pretty much what the kit I want to make. It's a McGrath throwback style graphic kit. So we're going to select everything in here, and since we're putting on this left shroud, we're going to reflect it, left or right click and then reflect. I'm just going to group this for now. Control C, Control X to delete it, Control Shift V. And you know, one thing it's gonna have you're gonna have to get used to using tools in Illustrator, but I am gonna try to give you the base knowledge of what you'll need to do, like keyboard shortcuts and all of that, for now. So this kind of has a good flow and shape to it. I'll probably make this wider. So we have this. I'm going to redraw this black area back here because it's not covering all my red and I want it to cover the red flames. So I'm going to use my pen tool. And I'm going to kind of make it flow into this graphic here, the rear side plate graphic here. So I'm going to make this a little bit larger because I want it to kind of flow a little bit more. So a really important thing about making graphics in Illustrator is learning the pen tool. So learning the pen tool, I think I'm going to put a logo here anyways. Learning the pen tool is really important. It's over here on your Tools tab. You click and then click and drag to make a shape, like a curved shape. So click and then drag, click, drag. To cut off a little, like to kind of, so like you have this line here, you click and drag, and then let's say you want this to be like a straight line after this. You click this and it will come up with a little triangle, and then you can press shift and make straight lines. Pressing shift with the pen tool makes straight lines, etc. So one thing you do before learning graphics in Illustrator is learn the pen tool, proficiently. This is what I'm going for, but I'm putting a spin to it because it's the graphics I put on my website. So I kind of want this yellow piece on the shroud. I think kind of having it like this will look alright. Maybe having the red go down a little further, I guess. So we're probably I'm gonna use this logo here. And I want it that same angle as my logo here. I'm actually probably gonna drag this down here a little bit. think that looks like pretty good. I don't want it to be like it'll look good. So we got that done. I'll probably go to my libraries. I got some logos in here. I'll use this logo actually. It's like a retro Fox logo, but kind of that new style. This looks kind of cool, you know, it's got a cool vibe to it. So now that we got those figured out, I will put probably my boy Jay Gass's Gish logo on there. And every time you see me grab a logo from another document, I'm doing Control C, Control V to copy and paste it. I don't do, it's just a nice keyboard shortcut to know. So we got the shroud done. These classic Hondas tend to have this like, you know, vintage number look. I'm gonna kind of stay with that. So I'll do this. I'll put, you know, 327 in there. And I will do probably Helvetica. You know, or I might give myself a number 1 plate. 327 won't really. I think I'm gonna do 1. This will be kind of like the. So, a key to making side plate numbers, etc. So let's say your seat is this shape. Let's say this is your seat. You want your number to be kind of the same angle as your seat. You don't want your number to be like this. You don't want your number to be like this, like obviously, but just kind of a cool middle. And so let's say, let's go to Miss Number Fonts. Let's say, you know, let's say I do my number. So I'm pressing Shift while doing this. I press Shift, I line up my number, Shift, and this is kind of like a cool, this is like a perfectly straight number font right here. So I'm gonna make this a little more tall. So I bring this up to my seat here and I line it up like this. So that is like a perfectly lined up number for my side plate there. And it's okay if it hangs off here, it gives it kind of a cool little, you know, style to it. So I think we're rocking with 327 just for the video purpose. I want to do that AMA. It's not an exact replica, but I want to kind of keep it similar. So every logo that I have on my side plate, I want to keep it the same kind of angle as my number here. I'm going to put that down there. And then I come back to my, actually let's open that again. I add this to my back plate. So a good thing to do is just get a plethora of logos ready before you start making kits. So that looks cool. It's very simple. I will show you, I mean, this is a kit I've done before. It's the opposite of simple, but this just shows you kind of how wild you can get with Illustrator. So I got my rear fender logos here. This is a basis of kind of what you want them to look like. Actually, so let me just show you how to do this. So I'm gonna ungroup all these, group, 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 group. So I start with my top one, Shift, Alt, keeps it in the same aspect ratio. I'm going to drag this up to the top corner of my top one, drag this up to the top corner of my top logo, and keep doing the same. This looks a little better. And I like it to be like a ascending, size and space. So this looks good. Yeah, that looks good for now. Control C, Control V, Shift. And we're gonna kind of move this up a little bit, make sure it's in the middle. Move this down in the middle. These need to go over a little bit. Okay, so that's good. I'm gonna put a little thing here. Okay, now that looks pretty good. Oh no, they went away. No, they didn't. Really? So, direct selection tool will fix that. That looks cool. I guess there was red rear fenders. I didn't really realize that, I guess. Okay. Alright, so that rear fender's done. That looks sick. So now we're gonna speed run this, transform. So now these are in clipping mask. I can click on them, transform, reflect, and we're gonna do horizontal because these sides are pretty much almost identical. So I'm gonna put this in here. So this is in its own clipping mask from this left side here. So I'm gonna take this and do release clipping mask. So all these edges will not be showing my old clipping mask. Okay, I'm gonna take that. Okay, I'm gonna delete this old white piece, make a new one, because you can see that black background. Take this, all these logos will be reflected. So I'm gonna have to transform and reflect them back to the normal orientation. Those are good. Release clipping mask. Make sure this is lined up with the top of the side plate again. Center it. Okay. A Dunlop FMF Wiseco. Seems like a good mixture. So I know that this fork guard on the right will be facing up, this one will be facing down. group that. Now we're gonna drag it back into our libraries here once you're done with the graphics, and it'll go save in there. So we're back in Photoshop, boys, and we see it in our library here. You're gonna click it and drop it on top of it by releasing. So it's over our black cutout here, so we're going to try to line it up as perfect as possible, and then you can turn off your black cutout. Nice. So we're going to get rid of bike shading here, kind of color match our plastic here. Okay, so after you did that, you can turn bike shading back on. So we got some work to do within our Photoshop document. I like to change a lot of the bike's look within here, you know, because I don't like how it looks stock. So we are going to make some things look better. So I'll probably want a carbon fiber gas tank. That's what I want. So find a good picture of some carbon fiber on Google and put it on your gas tank. I just think it looks better, and then you want to drag it underneath. There you go. So you probably do it here. This can probably go less opacity. That looks good. So this can also probably be black here. We'll do like a black color. Okay. So we got that done. We got the gas tank, so you can close that, lock it, whatever you need to do. Then what I like to do is, you got a linkage here or triple clamp here. Probably do a nice silver color. A triple clamp. Then we got our linkage at the bottom, suspension rod, whatever. Probably do a nice red color. Okay. So at this point in the video, I'm pretty much just changing colors of things on the Photoshop document. Like I said before, in the pink boxes, you pretty much navigate your layers by clicking on what you want to change, and then double clicking on that layer and changing the color overlay. And the color overlay will pretty much change the color of whatever object you picked, depending on the PSD or whatever. But usually that's the case. So that's what I'm doing here in the video. I was just kind of messing around with it, wasn't really explaining it, so I thought I'd go over it again. Okay, so we got that done. So here we got our Showa forks right here. I'm gonna take away these to make it look more vintage. And all I'm doing is clicking, and the layer panel that comes up, I'm deleting it and getting rid of it. So we got our forks here, and I'm clicking until I find the actual color layer. I'm locking the ones that aren't the color. So what I can do is double click it, gradient overlay. That's a cool overlay, but I also think I'll click OK, I'll copy layer style, paste layer style. What I'm going to do though is Control C after I click both of those, and Control, and then merge. And then I'm going to make a color overlay and make it more of like a brown gold color. Or maybe a little more gold like that. Then I can change the effect it has on the forks. This is kind of a cool color, honestly, like color dodge. So for the remainder of the video, I pretty much and basically just kind of tweaking the rest of what I want, like the colors and everything, on the Photoshop document. It's fairly easy. It's really not something that I figured I would need to do a tutorial over. I just kind of wanted to show the process of me making graphics through Adobe Illustrator and kind of show you the basic tools through that. Um, I think maybe I can get a little deeper into Photoshop later on. Um, I did end up tweaking with the normal map of the seat, and it would be good to, if you guys would let me know, like if you want a tutorial on normal maps, um, because sometimes I don't like the stock seats that it gives, or that the template gives, and I like changing that up a little bit. And if you've seen some of my other designs, I do like a reflective, like, you know, um, chrome effect on some of my things. So there's a lot more you can do in Photoshop, but I just kind of wanted to give a little graphic tutorial on Illustrator. Um, but yeah, so I'll show you the pictures of the final bike, and I hope you guys learned something from this video. And if not, you know, I know I'm not the best teacher, but I tried to give a little bit of my knowledge. So I will say Adobe Illustrator is very nice for making graphics, and I definitely recommend it to anyone who plays the game or is a designer. So thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.